Hi, my name is Gil Robertson, president of the African American Film Critics Association.
Okay.
Today, we are thrilled to kick off our new year talking to the amazing cast and creators for the Disney Channel show Saturdays. We're going to kick things off by introducing you to AAFCA facilitator Katia Woods in Philadelphia, Anthony White in New York, Carolyn Hines in Toronto, Dana Abercrombie in New York, KB in Houston, Texas, Nancy Green in Baltimore, Maryland, and Mercedes Springer in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to let you guys do what you do so well, and I'll see you on the other side.
This is Chicago, home to my girls Ari.
Yes, I'm in.
And Simone.
Right!
It's also where you find my brother London and his ride or die Derek.
We're gonna slide box Easy one of our mixtapes so we can blow up!
Mom and Dad run a bakery together.
All right.
And this is Paris. That's me.
We'll be famous.
And around here, the whole idea is to get through your week, to get to Saturdays.
Everybody underway, it's Saturday.
Not just a day,
We make a very good theme.
not just a vibe,
I'm sold!
Family and friends.
but the place where everyone brings it together. Cool.
It's Saturday. We ain't got no time to waste.
I live for Saturdays at Saturdays.
And me and my crew stay ready.
Saturdays.
Hi, Dana Abercrombie, the Coalition. What I love about this series is not only is this show a nice, strong family, but we have the representation of the skating culture. Can you please talk about the importance of showing that also within that Black community that is portrayed within this family?
Well, I think for me, I'm Norman, and I did a movie years back called Roll Bounce, and we just really wanted to show that same, Black folk skate. It's been synonymous with our culture from day one, and Chicago was just a perfect place to set the whole stage for roller skating. A show about it, since we did a movie about it, and. Today, if you turn on your TV, you can't turn on your TV without seeing that roller skating, without seeing that, we've kind of touched all these different cultures around the globe. So I just thought it was important to show a show that shows us in our best, being our best selves in our communities, roller skating and having a good time and showing that type of joy. So
I think it was awesome. I mean, most of us live in LA. We did the pilot in New Orleans, but we filmed the show in Chicago. And I think it was the perfect place, perfect backdrop. The culture out there, and we move around out there. We went out to eat, we talked to the people, and they were very appreciative of how we were representing them. So we're happy that you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really honored that we were able to actually be in sort of the mecca of where this particular style of skating originated, the JB style of skating. I mean, that's Chicago's own. So being able to celebrate that, learn it, which wasn't easy, but learning it, and this one does it so beautifully.
Go ahead,
It's just an honor. And Norm, he's right on. I mean, it's very relevant. This is part of our culture. We've been doing this. I mean, I was skating in the 80s, so I mean, not to age myself, but it's I just did. But this is a tradition that keeps sort of reinventing itself. So this is I just feel really proud, and I think it's really groundbreaking.
Yes, and just like Miss Golden just said, being able to be in Chicago with the skaters who are super good at their own style. I mean, JB, it was amazing learning that, but being able to see how it is to go to Chicago rinks and look at the sense of community that they have and the sense of community that skating brings everyone in general and all over the place. It's really amazing to be able to touch on that subject, especially since growing up in LA, we have a big roller skating scene, World on Wheels, of course, and just being able to portray that on screen is such a blessing. And I'm so happy. And Mr. Norman made sure that it was written perfectly and created perfectly. So I'm excited.
Hi, everyone. Mercedes here with She Critiques in Atlanta. So this question is kind of for Omar and Golden. You guys, I love this chemistry that you two have. This was the couple I didn't know we needed on television.
I know that's right.
I know you needed to.
I love it. So how was it working together? And Norman, what did you see in the two of them, the chemistry? What did you see exactly?
Yeah, well, listen, let me tell you something. We were their first choice. No, mama say that's your favorite child. What it's told. Okay, so if you audition for this, sorry. No. And it was really cool because I never worked with Golden or even met Golden before. But man, we hit it off right away. Even at the first chemistry read, it was just like, oh, we were done. I was like, I hope it's her. I hope it's her. And it was purely a joy. She's so seasoned. She's well. She knows what she's doing, and that it made it easier for me. You know what I mean? And then it was just like riding a bike when we were on set, man. So it was delicious. It was delicious.
Delicious. No pun intended. I second everything you said. Yeah, I mean, it's like Omar is just such a comedic genius. His choices have choices. So I felt like I really had to be on my A game. And I think what's so fun about, Cal and Deb is that they're flawed, but it's so fun. They poke at each other, but that's the beauty of it. That's the sort of the subliminal part of their funny. It's based in real. And, it's not the cookie cutter, no pun intended, couple. We really are showcasing the fun rivalry that the two of them have. And, couples sometimes are rooted in and sort of, just being really good friends. And that's what I really love about the two of them.
And I guess for me, I had worked with Golden for 4 years on another show. So I knew her. I know her talents. I know, she could bring the funny and she could bring the dramatics and all that good stuff, and was great to work with. And Omar, I'd seen his work. And as soon as we did casting and we, you call people in, it was them two all the way. I mean, it was, and we went through some people, but it was them day one. We just knew it, so we're just very blessed and happy that it actually, came to fruition. So they rocked it.
Anthony with the movie blog. Don't know where to start, but I remember when I was young, I was attracted to shows where I felt represented in the cast. Now, the family dynamics in this cast, you guys are spot on. I was just curious, did anybody draw from any of your own personal relationships to build that dynamic, or is this just how you guys are naturally with each other?
Well, I mean, let me just say this, and I'll let them take over. I think that was the essence of what we wanted to do. I have teenagers. I grew up in San Diego, and I got my hood stories and so on and so forth. And so I felt like we have this whole energy as Blacks and stuff like that, and family that is a little different. You know what I mean? And we really wanted to showcase that in the writing. And so when we casted it, they, obviously, they had the same intention. And so they gelled so well, it just automatically worked. But yes, it was definitely one of those intentionally written to sound like us. We don't sound like everybody else. We don't live like everybody else. And so we wanted it to feel and sound authentic to our culture, but at the same time, it's universal in storytelling and tone.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, this is me as a parent now, but that's not how my parents were. That's not the household we grew up in. I mean, it was like, okay, like, Mom, can we talk about this? No, okay. But this is definitely art imitates life, and how I am with my wife, with my kids, and it's kind of like, and it's different for me because they're like 6 and 3. Those are my kids, and my wife, I've known her for 20 years, so it's definitely, we have our little thing, and I go, okay, all right, let's sidebar, let's talk, let's work it out now where everything's good. You know what I mean? And I love that about this show, how we work through differences. If you have a problem or an issue, we're going to talk about it. We let our kids kind of make their own mistakes, but they come on home at the end of the day, and then lesson learned.
Yeah, I mean, I think my real life daughter's 13, and I feel like this is an extension of my life with, playing Danielle's Paris's mother, which is, this talent right here. She's just, what she brings to just that, the representation that she brings to that age, that demographic is going to speak volumes. I mean, you said something else about, when you see representation of you and you feel better, you feel empowered when you see what you know. Yeah. And I feel like this show is that in the way it's written. Norm does a beautiful job at writing how we speak and writing how we sort of navigate through each of our, these trials and tribulations, which are funny, but there's also, it's always based in something real, which I think is what's so genuine about the show.
For me, of course, I am a young teenager, and with Paris, I see a lot of the things that she goes through with her family, and I kind of relate it to my own, especially with my mom. I have a really close relationship with my mom, so being able to portray that with both my parents, I love it because I'm able to. Paris is able to talk to them freely, come to them with advice, and it kind of reminds me of my relationship with my mom, and also the off-screen chemistry we all have really helps because I feel like this is like my second family. We definitely have that family dynamic off screen. So when we're on screen and the camera's rolling, it feels really natural. And the scenarios and the stuff that we say is very real and it's very relatable. So that's kind of how I make it very real and real. Real.
Well, I appreciate you all so much. If you see the movie blog in your IG comments, that's me. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everyone. Carolyn Crystal. Here's what happened in Carolyn Toss podcast. First of all, thank you so much for speaking with us today. I really enjoyed the episodes that we were able to watch. And going off of Anthony's question with regards to representation that we see, I want to talk about the representation that we hear because the music that is played is music that I'm familiar with. And I love that we get to hear different generations and different eras of music. We had Motown, we got hip hop, we got rap from the 80s, 90s, R&B. So this is a question for everyone. So, but normally I want to start with you using the music inspiration for the show. And I feel like all the characters kind of have their own particular sound with regards to identity. Like there's a vibe for each and every one of them. Like for the parents, I can imagine it's 80s and 90s hip hop era. And for Paris and her kid and for her friends, it's like a more contemporary sound now. But I want you to talk about building the show musically and the music inspirations that you use.
Well, I mean, honestly, you go to the skating rink, you hear everything. And another thing is that, we wanted a show where parents could sit down with their kids and watch. And so, we wanted to do music that relates to those parents, right? You know what I mean? So it's like we can go back to the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and current music and stuff like that. So it was really important for us to be able to touch everybody so it could feel authentic, and we could have those conversations. We could have those conversations of nostalgia and those feelings of that. At the same time, keep it current and you hear what the young kids are doing. So I think it was just important to try to weave all that stuff together. So, you can just feel like you're at a real rink, right? So, I've been to some places where, they just play popular music, but I just think to our culture, it's music is timeless, right? And so we have these old jams that we're rocking from the 60s, you could probably play in the show that would still resonate today. And all those songs, which I would say, especially the older ones, they all have a storytelling type of, vibe to it. So they're not just hits, but they're hits for a reason. So we were really selective in the songs and the lyrics and so on and so forth as we prepared the music for the show.
Yeah. Which was really important, I know I would go on shows and I say, wait a minute, that's not my era, that's the era before me. How old was the writer that did? But I said, well, it's for that generation too, brother. Just calm down, we have a scene where we get to skate, the parents do our thing, later on in the season, and they picked a beautiful song for that. So, and then I listened to, watch the first two episodes that you guys watch, right? And that the kids are gonna love it, right, Danielle?
Yes, I mean the music is like another character, and I think it helps move the story along. And to piggyback off of what Norm said, it takes you into a time and place. And I think that's intentional too, just like so many pieces of this show. And if your mama's watching it or the mama's watching it, there's something for every generation. And that's what a show should, I feel like a show should sort of speak to and gravitate and pull in, everyone in the family. I think this is just a beautiful piece for, all demographics in everyone's family.
Absolutely. And music is such a big part of roller skating. When you're in a rink, you want to feel the music. You're rolling with it. You're jamming with it. So I feel like music is very important, especially in this show, just for it being for all ages. Because when you go to a rink, they play all different type of genres and all different types of eras. And you feel it because the rink is for everyone. same with the show, it's for everyone. And I feel like it's really giving that inclusivity in different age ranges, different genres, different eras for everyone, and anything to like, it's for everyone. I feel like everyone's gonna love it, especially with the music kind of connects with the skating rink for me.
That's a very good point. You can tell she's a real skater. When I was learning this, we learned in a skating rink where they played a certain style of music, and it was kind of like I wasn't really getting it. But I put my ear pods in, put one of my jams on, I start flying around the ring. They're like, I'm like, yeah, this right here is all about the music, baby.
Great, thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Nancy Green with Film Critique. Hi, and I thought this show was so cute. And one of the things that I really loved about it was the way that it had this sort of very natural feel with the kids and the family from like the 90s, 2000s kind of era, that sort of era, and also incorporating more modern things. So I wanted to know if you could talk about combining those elements along with the skating.
I felt like, coming up, there was a time where we had like kind of like a lightning in a bottle. And, we had the Cosby Show, we had Different World, we had shows that really kind of encompassed like Black culture in a different way. And there's a different sound to it. And it made us feel, at that time, it made us feel very proud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were uplifted. And so we really wanted to kind of like bring that full circle and bring it to today. And how would that sound on Disney Channel? And one thing I would say for Disney Channel, they allowed us the breath to do so. I mean, a lot of their shows sound a certain way, they move a certain way, but they allowed us to be different, but still be universal, but be different in our way. So it would sound like, okay, hey, this is a different look, but it's giving them the same vibes to a different audience, but they're feeling like, hey, I feel empowered watching this no matter your race. But definitely we wanted to be conscious of the shows before us that made us feel a certain way, because there was a period of time where those shows that we did, and I've worked on a film that didn't give us the feeling, right? So, you know what I mean? So it was really important for me to like find that kind of balance where we could do a show where we felt, where we could turn it on, your parents could watch, your kids could watch, and they could go, hey, you know what? I'm trying to get to the rink. I want some friends like that.
Right.
I want to do this. You know what I mean? And so we really wanted to do that.
Yeah. Really, really proud of this show, man. I grew up in the same era. I'm watching Cosby Show and Different World and that, and I'm like, this feels like that. When I watched the first 2 episodes, I said, okay, we got that going on. We got the animation. We got the choreographed. Every episode has a different routine that these girls had to learn, which was awesome. I only had to learn one. But you know what I mean? But just such an exciting show. And it feels good, looks good, sounds good. I'm happy.
It's great, and it's intentional. It's not the family that you see every 4th or 5th episode who comes over with a cup of sugar. I mean, this story is intentional. This Danielle, her character, her friends, they are prominent, and I think that's a big deal. Especially, I mean, for me raising a 13-year-old, I mean, for her to be able to turn this on and see something that represents kind of a something that is hers. It's familiar. It's her world. And that speaks volumes, and representation can really change how you see yourself, how you move through your own life. And I'm proud of it.
Yes. And for me, representation is like very important. I grew up in an era, well, I'm still growing up. Sorry. myself. I'm growing up in an era where I didn't really have the Cosby Show like they did. I had really Blackish. And so to have more shows out there, like the shows that they grew up with, that old school feel, that vibe where it's like you feel appreciated, you feel inspired, and you can look at someone and think, oh, I see myself in that character. I kind of look like that character. Oh, I have the type of hair like that character. I want to do my hair like that. I didn't really have that much. I know we all feel like I really didn't have that much representation. So especially it being on Disney Channel, right, for young kids to really grow up and feel appreciated, to feel seen, to feel heard is very important for me. And I feel like Saturdays is the perfect way to showcase that. And Mr. Norman did an amazing job with representing all of us, all different shades of brown, all different personalities, breaking stereotypes, and really showing our culture and appreciating it. So I love it.
Give us a second. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, man. Get this pro for you, man. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And I think it was a great representation. So loved it. Thank you.
KB here with Through the Lens of Lady KB. Absolutely adored the show. My question is for Danielle, Golden, and Omar, but I will start with you, Danielle. What was your favorite scene or storyline that you can tease for us this season?
I am really in love with the rivalries that we have. I feel like it adds a little bit of spice, and you can really see how we overcome how the Weeby girls overcome things as a friend group, and kind of relaying it back to my family's legacy that they left for me to become a Golden, really trying to achieve that goal, and like how we kind of push through it together with the support of my family and the power of friendship. I love that we go through little rivalries with little crews in the show. I feel like it's so interesting and exciting. and they put up a good fight too. Like they're good. So that's a little tease in there.
Oh gosh, I don't know what we could give away. I mean, everything she said. Sometimes I'll sit back and I might go sneak in and watch a scene. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. And I get excited, I get invested in these characters. And but I mean, there's just so much. There's one episode in particular that I love, but I just want to say overall, I love the camaraderie and just this family dynamic. We go through a lot, the Johnsons. And we do. And I love that. And, it's going to be so fun to see how audiences, they're invested in each and every one of us, all of Paris's friends, from the fashion to, as Danielle said, the aesthetic and the hair and all the, hair and makeup did such a beautiful job. But yes, there are many. There's one in particular I have to say where Paris and Deb have some friction, but they come full circle because, everything on Saturdays, we try to come to some kind of happy ending with a lot of realism in there.
Right on. So hard to choose. I think the episode that I liked was the character Cal kind of gets humbled a lot throughout the season. He'll start. Better way to say it. He's humbled a lot. He's trying to teach his son how to be a man. And he's like, "This is how men do it," and the Johnson men, and so forth and so on. And Deb's just kind of going, "Okay, all right," kind of like how we teach our child a lesson and kind of just let her work through it. She's like, "We're gonna let it work through it," and without giving away too much, it kind of blows up in his face. Let's just put it that way. And then he has to kind of eat crow and some humble pie and say, I should have consulted with my wife. You're right, son. She knows as well. And, so forth and so on. So he learns his lesson. And that definitely was my favorite episode. It's coming. You'll see it. And you'll know exactly what I mean. And you'll giggle with us when you watch.
Well, I love it. Can't wait to see all of these episodes that you guys teed up, and can't wait for audiences to see Saturdays. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, Katya Woods with Couple Social and the Philadelphia Tribune. My question is for Danielle. As a mom, I will say that one of the things I think this generation is missing is representation for your age group. It seems to be for younger kids, and then it goes right up to young adults. How does it feel to be able to be a young person that other young girls can relate to and have something tangible to watch on a weekly basis?
It is a dream come true. I used to always watch television shows, and I wouldn't really find a character that I can completely resonate with, that was completely very similar to me. And so being able to be that now, I feel so good, because I always think about, okay, I know other children are going to be inspired by this because this is what I wanted when I was younger. This is what I wanted to see on Disney Channel. And I give kudos to Disney for allowing us to be that representation for young kids, and even for adults to see this and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have my child watch that. I'm so excited. Or, oh, I wish I had that growing up. I'm excited for it. So I love it. I love everything about the representation that we have, how we are breaking stereotypes, how we're showing hair, all different types of hair, all different types of shade of browns and different personalities. And I really feel like, and I feel like I've said this before, but everyone's going to find themselves in one of our characters. We have such a great variety of characters and representation. I'm so excited. And we talk so much about Black culture too. It's just everything about it just makes me so excited. And I'm so grateful and proud that I get to be a part of this amazing experience. So thank you, Mr. Norman.
Awesome. Guys, we have time for another round. So we'll start with you, Mercedes, and then go same order.
Perfect. I'm throwing it right back to Danielle. Were there any mishaps while you were skating at all? Did you know how to skate before this, or did you hurt yourself at all?
So I skated a little bit with my friends in LA at World on Wheels. It's like this really popular, used to be a skating rink. And I didn't really know the tricks or the moves or anything like that. I would just watch everybody else and kind of just glide with my friends. So being able to learn all the moves and tricks that I used to see and not be able to do is really fun. But for me, I fall a lot. I fall a lot from the beginning to the end of the show. I would fall every day, 5 times a day. It got to a point where I'd fall and nobody would even blink an eye. I don't know if I'm ever gonna stop falling, but I feel like I'm definitely a pro skater now, even with my little falls and trips and fumbles.
Nice, perfect, thank you.
Omar, this question is for you. You are a veteran. You're like a TV legend, and I've been watching you since Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Okay.
This seems effortless for you. Can you talk about what it is about this show and this cast that stands out for you specifically as an artist?
Excellent question, bro. I mean, you get the material first and you go, oh, I can do this. This is not right in my wheelhouse. He's a Black dad. Okay, perfect. Got that. Check that off the list. Comedic timing. He likes to have fun with the kids. All right, fine. He's kind of like a man child. Okay, easy. That's easy. I got all that. And check those off. How is the writing as a whole? I read the whole script. I said, oh, wow, this is great. I hope the cast is good. Oh, phenomenal. Check them off the list. So we have a star leading us. We've got stars around her. The other kids on the show are phenomenal. Even the guest cast is good. I'm like, yeah, y'all can't mess up nothing on it. And, the production itself was humongous. Like Golden has said a lot this morning. We've done a lot of these interviews. It's like every episode was like a movie, from the choreography, stunt team, new wardrobe fitting, full wardrobe fit. There was a lot of wardrobe fitting, a lot of clothes, a lot of clothes. Different on location. We had an episode where I turned a leaf blower on a guy and they blow him away. Did they do that in post? No, they hooked him up to a harness and yanked him 20 feet in the air. I said, this is the most amazing production I've ever been a part of. Sorry, the best cast up in I'm sorry. One season out. When I say that, I mean everyone is polished. There's not like one weak link. Like seriously, everybody across the board is they all know their lines, which makes like, can somebody mess up one time, please? Like it was a joy to be a part of this, and I just look forward to many years to come.
Hey everyone, Carolyn again. So before I talked about the music, now I want to talk a bit about the fashion and the hairstyles, because one of the things that I love about this show is we get to see like a wide range of hairstyles for all the characters. We go from a high top, like this tremendous high top that London has, and like for Danielle and her friends, that you all guys have different natural hairstyles. You wear extensions, you wear weaves, and even for the parents, like we get to know who these characters are in their clothing. And for you, Golden, this is for everyone, but for you, Golden, like I grew up watching you on Girlfriends. And like one of your character's standpoints was her fashion. Like, she had an amazing fashion sense. So
it's my style.
So I want you guys to talk about how you identify with your characters with regards to their hairstyling and the fashion.
Oh gosh, well, for me, fashion is part of the culture, and it's a part of our expression. And Norman has surrounded us with a great team. We had a wonderful wardrobe department. And I mean, I just think for us as young girls like Danielle and just as women in general, I mean, I think our fashion sort of is our statement. It's our statement piece. And I feel like it sort of puts that stamp on who we are as a people, who I am as a mother. You know, I think it's important to show that, you know, you can still be a mom, but you could still be, you know, current, relevant, on trend, as they say. And I think that's something that's fun. You know, other shows I've been on, you know, fashion was sort of at the forefront. And I think it sort of moves the story along in a sense of, you know, what are we trying to say as a character? So I love Deb's fashion. I mean, she's laid back, but it's intentional. Every piece that that she sort of puts on is something that is uniquely her. And I think all the characters, even I think, you know, Duchess, Yo-Yo, she has her own style, which I think is so cool. And each person is bringing their own individual voice through their exterior. And I think that's expression. I think that's really big in our culture. So I'm excited for people to feel like what Danielle said earlier, there's going to be someone that each person out there is going to be able to resonate with and connect with, if it's through fashion or what have you. So I think that's something that's also very intentional.
It's me, my hair, hair spray. They sprayed it sometimes.
And the hair.
That's it. No, the hair. I had the sponge. They fell in love at the beginning of putting like some filler here for the hairline when the barber messed me up one time, and then it stuck. So my process wasn't as long as theirs, but it was like, we got to do this. We're gonna fill you in, and now you're good. Don't lay down on it. We had to sponge you again, and that was it. That was my hair.
For hair, for all the characters on Saturdays, for me, it kind of goes back to representation. For me, I saw every hairstyle that especially the girls in the show were wearing, and I was like, oh, I've gotten butterfly locks before. I've gotten the braids before. I rock my afro, my puff all the time. So again, it's like showing that like you can find yourself in each character. And you know, growing up, again, there wasn't a lot of people that was wearing their afro puff out in a TV show, or their locks like Ari, or their braids with the little curlies like Simone's. So I feel like showing the different hairstyles that a Black girl wears is very important. And so, okay, maybe they're like, oh, I love that hairstyle on her, I'll try that. Or I haven't worn my afro puff in a long time, I might do that little puff that Paris did. Just finding yourself in the hair and in the character, and also just hair is a big way of expressing yourself in the Black community. We have been using hair to express ourselves forever, since the beginning of time. So showing it in the show is very important, and I'm so happy that we do it perfectly.
Great, thank you. I can't wait to see what people say about the Afro pick scene. That was like a sound.
Hi, Nancy again. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was, I love how there were these different lessons incorporated. I especially love the way that it was resolved when about the music video. I don't want to give spoilers, but I love that. It happened quickly, but I thought it was so natural. And so I wanted to know if you could talk about having these types of values and the meaning there, and what you hope that audiences can get from these kind of things, and how you're putting it into the show.
Well, I think every episode, I mean, listen, we don't want to be preachy. I think that was really a directive. How can we tell a story, learn a lesson, and not have it seem so, I don't know, sanitized in a way? So, so every episode, yes, we try to teach a little something without trying to hit you over the head with it, right? So in that scene with the, how it ends and the parents, we really button it on the couch. If you remember, it's just, hey, you need to get some information before you step into something. And that's it. You know what I mean? But that's really the moral of the story. And because we don't want people to we want people to have fun and not get lost and trying to get preached to. I don't think that's necessary, but I do think it's necessary to show these teenagers going through life and their situations and telling these stories about how they resolve them without it feeling as though, we're trying to, oh, this is the episode where you have to learn how to do this, or you have to learn to do that. No, we just learned it along the way, and I love the ride. So that's what we try to do.
All right. Yeah, the show is very current, but has an old soul.
There you go.
I watch these kids now, and they got the flat tops and they got the afros. I was like, hey, that's what, she said she didn't see them growing up, but we did. Good times, and you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's all coming back full circle, so it's great. So brilliant writing. Good job.
But even down what he just said about the afros and the flat tops, they came into the auditions like that. It's not like I was like, hey, I just, they're Black kids being themselves. And I think that's what I appreciate. And so we didn't say, hey, this one has to have this one has to have that. It's like, no, they can be their natural selves. So that's the beauty of how, they're watching, or it's kind of, it's in our culture, kind of what Omar said, it's in our culture. So even though they may not see it, but they're actually exuding it in ways that they didn't think they could, but
Question is for Danielle. So can you talk a little bit about your off-screen relationship with Jermaine and how that really helped to kind of build this on-screen dynamic between Paris and London?
So me and Jermaine have a very sibling relationship in real life. And I don't have any siblings. I'm the only child. So I gotta play a sibling. I have people who are like my siblings, but they're younger than me. So I've never been a little sister to someone, really. So Jermaine, our off-screen chemistry, being siblings and kind of making fun of each other, telling each other stuff and just giving each other advice, being very sibling-like off-screen definitely helped on-screen. It felt very natural, especially for the comb episode. That one was, I feel like this is something I would do to Jermaine in real life. So that definitely helps. Yeah, we're like siblings in real life.
If anything's missing, he should check with you first.
Well, I love it. I can't wait for everyone to see y'all's dynamic because it does feel very real and relational in the siblings capacity. So thanks.
Everyone, this is Kathy again. This question is for Norman. One of the things I do like is showing this family, this working class family together and just living comfortably. How important was that for you? Because again, there's this narrative that there's only two extremes of Black families. We either doing really, really bad or we doing exceptionally really well, and that these types of families don't exist. How important was that for you to have that type of family dynamic in this show?
It was a no-brainer, non-starter any other way. I felt like, to your point, we don't see us in situations, or we don't embrace us on television in those type of situations where we see a family that has it together. You know what I mean? It has it together doesn't mean like you're perfect. It doesn't mean that you're the richest family or the poorest family. And I just felt like seeing a couple living in a nice house with a nice car with two kids that they've raised, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, that happens every day. But we don't have enough creators and I can't even say we don't have enough creators. We just haven't had the opportunity to show that because for the most part, that's not what sells, right? So being on Disney Channel and being able to show this, it's just very important because this isn't a myth. You know what I mean? We do exist. There are happy Black families, with full of joy, on this planet. Right. You know what I mean? And I just thought it was just important to show that. And hopefully, this show kind of moves on to, other shows to open up just like it. And I think people are going to say, we want a show like Saturdays. We want a family like that. You don't have to be perfect, but the thing about it is that, it's not really about, for me, I guess it's beyond the culture. It's just changing what people believe our lives are. And I think the more things that we have that are positive about us, the better. We have enough of the negative. I mean, you could turn any channel, we've seen enough, but this is definitely one of those shows where you say, hey, I aspire to look like them, sound like them, have fun like them, live like them. Those are great things for whatever your economic or social level, wherever you're at. I think you watch this show, it doesn't matter. You just feel like, I felt good watching that. I felt good about those people that look just like me or didn't look like me. I just felt good, period. And so it was very important to have a family that's together, you know, and the parents, they argue, but they come back in love. You know what I mean? You know, they joke their kids, but at the same time, they love them. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was, you know, necessary, and I wouldn't do it any other way. Any other thing that I create, I wouldn't do it any other way. You know, it's like, you know, if you want that, go somewhere else. You know, I'm not that person for it, but if you want something this is what I'm trying to do.
I think he did an excellent job at it being universal too. So I think all ages, all races will watch this and relate. You know, it's not like a very black show. Like, what does that mean? I don't understand that. You know, call my black friend and find out what they talking about. You know what I mean? Like you white, black, Asian, whatever, you watch this and go, oh, that happens in our family too. Yep.
And I think skating is universal, which is like the biggest backdrop of this show. And I think it's another language. And I think that's what's so beautiful about it, because it will transcend to any culture, any race, any demographic. Everyone skates, and it makes you happy. And it's on Saturday. Everything happens on Saturday. So I think it's all very intentional and very, you know, I think it'll cross all barriers.
Cast, creators, Golden, hey girl, it's good seeing you.
Nice to see you.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Omar, on behalf of the world's largest group of Black film and TV critics, thank you for watching this edition of AAFCA Roundtables. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Thank you.